the calm surface of the Baltic Sea conceals a quiet yet transformative effort by Germany and Denmark. These two nations are steadily reshaping Europe's future, one enormous scoop of sand at a time. In southern Denmark, a massive project is taking shape to connect the country with Germany. What appears to be a discrete dredging operation is, in fact, part of one of Europe's most ambitious infrastructure ventures, larger than it first appears. Backed by billions of euros, this plan could forever alter how countries link and interact. But why is Germany digging so extensively beneath the sea, and why is it attracting so little attention? Deep under the Baltic, a monumental dredging operation is quietly progressing. This project is so grand in scale that it's being compared to the Channel Tunnel. At the heart of it lies the Fehmarn Belt Fixed Link, a 17.6-kilometer submerged tunnel that will connect Riebehaven in Denmark to Puttgarden in Germany. When finished, it will become the longest combined road and rail immersed tunnel in the world. It's an engineering triumph that's quietly setting new benchmarks for infrastructure, even as global headlines focus elsewhere. More than just a connection between two countries, this tunnel is poised to reshape transportation and trade across Europe. Official construction began in 2020 following years of legal challenges, environmental assessments, and coordinated agreements between Denmark and Germany. With construction now well underway, the tunnel is expected to open by 2029. The €7 billion project, primarily funded by Denmark and supported by the EU, is impressive not just for its size but for the precision and efficiency of its implementation. Engineers have dubbed it a once-in-a-century feat, not only for its ambition but also for the new global standards it sets in sustainable underwater construction and cross-border collaboration. Before this tunnel, the main way to travel or transport goods across the 18-kilometer gap between Riebehaven and Puttgarden was via ferry. This route, called the Vogelfluglinie or bird flight line, has operated since the 1960s and has long served as a crucial link between Scandinavia and Central Europe. Millions of travelers and freight trucks rely on its 45-minute crossing each year. However, the service has become outdated, with weather disruptions and seasonal delays reducing its reliability. For a region with growing economic needs, ferries are no longer enough. This is the motivation behind the Fehmarn Belt Fixed Link, to cut travel times, increase freight capacity, and deliver dependable, all-season connectivity between northern and central Europe. To fully grasp its significance, it helps to view it in a broader context. The Fehmarn Corridor is a vital part of the Trans-European Transport Network, TEN-T, an EU initiative to improve regional connectivity. Located along the Scandinavian Mediterranean Core Network Corridor, the tunnel plays a critical role in freight routes that span from Helsinki and Stockholm down to Palermo, Italy. Currently, a ferry bottleneck slows this key trade corridor. The urgency to improve freight logistics and reduce carbon emissions made a better alternative essential. Denmark and Germany are already linked by the Fehmarn Sound Bridge, built in 1963, connecting the island of Fehmarn to mainland Germany. While historically important, the bridge can no longer meet modern traffic demands. As part of the tunnel project, Germany plans to either upgrade or replace it, ensuring a continuous, modern connection to the tunnel's German terminus and beyond. So, why opt for a tunnel over a bridge? The Baltic Sea's shallow depth makes it highly susceptible to strong winds and waves, making a tunnel the safer and more stable choice. It also has fewer impacts on marine life and avoids disrupting shipping lanes, issues that would be worse with a bridge. The tunnel solves several problems at once. It eliminates ferry delays, boosts Europe's transportation grid, modernizes outdated infrastructure, and aligns with climate goals by promoting rail freight over road transport. To make this underwater tunnel a reality, a massive operation is taking place beneath the waves. Before the tunnel segments can be installed, millions of cubic meters of sand, silt, and clay must be removed from the seabed. This excavation, among the largest in European history, has amazed even seasoned marine engineers with its scale and precision. But why remove so much sand? What is being done with it, and how is this quiet dredging project powering such a bold vision? Constructing a tunnel under the sea involves much more than laying down steel and concrete. It begins with moving vast amounts of earth. In southern Denmark, an enormous excavation is underway to carve a trench beneath the Baltic for the Fehmarn Belt fixed link. Over 19 million cubic meters of sand, silt, clay, and glacial debris are being dredged from the seafloor. This trench will be 60 meters wide, up to 16 meters deep, and stretch 18 kilometers long. Each tunnel segment, roughly the size of a football field and as heavy as a battleship, will be precisely placed into this trench. But the seabed is not uniform. It's a challenging mix of fine clay, sticky silt, and dense glacial deposits from the Ice Age. These tough conditions require a combination of advanced dredging techniques and highly specialized equipment. One key piece of machinery is the trailing suction hopper dredger, TSHD, massive vessels that drag suction heads along the sea floor, vacuuming sediment and storing it in onboard hoppers. These ships work non-stop, guided by GPS and sonar to achieve centimeter-level precision. For harder sections of seabed, powerful grab dredgers take over, capable of breaking through the denser materials. Massive floating cranes equipped with heavy-duty buckets are being used to break through tough layers of glacial till and dense clay beneath the seabed. In some situations, large backhoe dredgers come into play, functioning like enormous underwater excavators. To understand the magnitude of this excavation, consider that the Fehmarn Belt Tunnel project involves the removal of over 19 million cubic meters of sand and soil. That's nearly half the volume of the Panama Canal, which required years and a massive workforce to complete. It's enough material to build a small city, underscoring the immense scale of this underwater engineering effort as Germany and Denmark reshape the Baltic Sea floor. Rather than discard all that excavated material, it's being put to good use. The displaced sand and soil are carefully repurposed to build new coastal landscapes, elevate land near tunnel entrances, and create protective dunes and wildlife zones on both the Danish and German shores. This approach to land reclamation is crafting entirely new areas along the coast, some of which are set to become parks and recreational spots once construction wraps up. It's a textbook example of circular construction, an efficient and environmentally thoughtful method that reintegrates excavation material back into the ecosystem instead of dumping it at sea. However, the process hasn't been without complications. The project initially ran into delays due to environmental concerns, particularly around the marine ecosystems in the Fehmarn Belt. In response, dredging was scheduled to avoid disrupting key breeding periods for marine life. Underwater sensors and satellites have also been used to closely track sediment clouds. This careful planning reflects a balancing act between advanced engineering and environmental stewardship, one that has been executed with notable care and accuracy. Beneath all this groundwork lies more than just a trench, it's the base for a groundbreaking tunnel that is setting new standards in both size and innovation. At the heart of this transformation is the use of an immersed tube tunnel system. This revolutionary technique is redefining underwater tunnel construction. When most people think of tunnels, they picture giant machines boring through rock beneath mountains or cities. But under shallow seas like the Baltic, there's a more effective method. The Fehmarn Belt fixed link is pioneering the use of immersed tube tunnels on an unprecedented scale. Unlike traditional tunnels, these are constructed on land in dry docks, then segmented and floated out to sea like colossal vessels. Once at the site, each segment is submerged into a prepared trench on the seabed using a precise system involving cranes, ballast tanks, and high-tech navigation. Despite earlier obstacles, the Fehmarn Belt Tunnel is moving steadily forward. The scale of the project is striking, from the specially built harbour to the massive tunnel segment factory that stretches over a kilometre. The scope also includes the removal of 19 million cubic meters of seabed and investments totaling billions of euros. This is not your typical infrastructure job, it's a rare mega-project unfolding beneath the surface of the Baltic Sea. In terms of scale, the Fehmarn Belt fixed link is historic. Spanning 17.6 kilometers beneath the sea, it's on track to become the longest immersed road and rail tunnel in the world. It's nearly twice as long as the underwater section of the Channel Tunnel and 4 times longer than Denmark's current Øresund Tunnel. The finished tunnel will carry a 4-lane highway and a double-track railway, making it a crucial connection between Scandinavia and mainland Europe. The tunnel will replace the current ferry service between Riebehaven in Denmark and Puttgarden in Germany, which takes about 45 minutes. Once the tunnel is completed, the same journey will take only 7 minutes by train and 10 minutes by car. This drastic reduction in travel time is expected to revolutionize transportation, lower emissions, and enhance regional mobility. A massive construction facility at Riebehaven supports the effort, where 89 tunnel elements, each 217 meters long, are being cast using high-performance concrete and reinforced with tons of steel. These will be floated out, submerged, and aligned with millimeter-level accuracy. Every aspect of this project is oversized. The seabed trench being dug is 60 meters wide and up to 16 meters deep, requiring the handling of over 3 million tons of tunnel components. This is among the largest marine excavation efforts in Europe's history. The workforce involved is just as extensive, including thousands of professionals, marine engineers, divers, scientists, logistics experts, and skilled tradespeople. Thousands more jobs have been generated indirectly across industries in Denmark and Germany. With an estimated cost of €7 billion, it ranks among Europe's priciest infrastructure projects. But stakeholders view it as a worthwhile investment, promising long-term benefits like quicker travel, improved freight systems, and a direct trade corridor from Scandinavia to Italy. The Fehmarn Belt Fixed Link is more than just a Danish-German initiative, it's influencing global thinking on infrastructure, trade, and environmental sustainability. Once operational, the tunnel will offer a high-speed connection between northern and central Europe, unlocking new trade routes and shrinking travel times across the continent. With weather delays and long boarding times eliminated, freight and passengers will move faster and more reliably. This improved connectivity will provide a major lift to the logistics sector. Trains will replace ferries for freight, cutting transport costs and strengthening the supply chain. By integrating into the wider Trans-European Transport Network, TEN-T, the tunnel will enhance seamless cross-border travel and freight movement throughout the EU. The tourism sector will also see gains. Easier access between Denmark and Germany will attract more visitors and make cross-border trips more popular. Towns like Puttgarden and Riebehaven are gearing up to shift from ferry ports to tourist destinations, with plans for new restaurants, hotels, and cultural sites. The environmental payoff is equally significant. Replacing thousands of trucks and ferry trips with electric trains will reduce carbon emissions considerably. Currently, ferries on this route emit around 2 million tons of CO2 annually. The transition to rail promises a cleaner, quieter alternative that aligns with EU climate strategies and Denmark's commitment to green transport. These benefits don't come without significant costs. The upfront investment is massive, €7 billion for the tunnel alone, not including the cost of Germany's onshore infrastructure upgrades. Critics argue that it may take decades before the project recoups its expenses through tolls and trade advantages. Environmental concerns also persist. Activists warn that construction and dredging could disrupt marine life in the Baltic Sea, especially the rare harbor porpoise, and stir up harmful pollutants buried in the seabed. This leads to a broader question: is this just the beginning? As nations push for faster, greener, and better connected transport systems, the Fehmarn Belt project might serve as a model for what's achievable. The implications for global transportation are profound. The Fehmarn Belt Fixed Link sends a strong message about the future, one shaped by climate challenges, population growth, and increasing competition in global trade. Despite setbacks, construction of the tunnel is well underway, and its sheer scale is hard to ignore. From a specially designed construction harbor to a kilometer-long tunnel segment factory, and from 19 million cubic meters of dredged seabed to billions in investment, this is no ordinary infrastructure job. It's a rare mega-project for Europe, one happening quietly beneath the Baltic Sea. The size of the tunnel is staggering. At 17.6 kilometers, the Fehmarn Belt Fixed Link is set to become the world's longest immersed road and rail tunnel. It's nearly twice as long as the underwater section of the Channel Tunnel and 4 times the length of Denmark's Øresund Tunnel. It will feature a 4-lane motorway and a dual-track railway, creating an essential corridor between Scandinavia and Central Europe. The tunnel replaces the current ferry service between Rebyhavn in Denmark and Puttgarden in Germany, which takes about 45 minutes. When the tunnel opens, that journey will shrink to just 7 minutes by train or 10 minutes by car. This major reduction in travel time is expected to revolutionize logistics, cut emissions, and vastly improve regional mobility. To build the tunnel, a massive construction site was developed in Rebyhavn. It includes one of Europe's largest facilities, a factory more than 1 kilometer long. Here, 89 enormous tunnel sections, each 217 meters long, are being cast in high-performance concrete and reinforced with thousands of tons of steel. Once ready, they'll be floated out to sea, sunk, and joined with extreme precision. The engineering is as massive as the structure itself. The underwater trench is 60 meters wide and up to 16 meters deep, making room for over 3 million tons of tunnel components. The dredging operation, which has removed over 19 million cubic meters of seabed, is one of Europe's largest ever marine excavation efforts. The workforce behind the project is equally vast. Thousands of people are employed, from marine engineers and divers to environmental scientists and skilled trades. Thousands more are indirectly involved through related industries in Denmark and Germany, including manufacturing, logistics, and hospitality. With a total cost of around 7 billion euros, this stands as one of Europe's priciest infrastructure efforts. However, supporters believe the investment is worth it. The tunnel will cut travel time, improve freight movement, and connect Scandinavia to southern Europe more efficiently than ever. It's more than a tunnel, it's a major economic artery that promises long-term benefits. The Fehmarn Belt fixed link isn't only transforming Germany and Denmark, it's reshaping global perspectives on transportation, trade, and environmental policy. The tunnel provides a direct, high-speed link between northern and central Europe, replacing ferry crossings that are slow, weather-dependent, and often delayed. Trains will make the trip in 7 minutes, cars in 10, improving efficiency across borders. This leap in mobility is particularly beneficial for freight operations. Goods that once crossed the Baltic by ferry can now move more rapidly and reliably by rail. This reduces shipping costs and strengthens supply chains. By integrating into the EU's Trans-European Transport Network, TEN-T, the tunnel enhances continent-wide connectivity and flow. Tourism is also expected to benefit. With faster travel, more people are likely to visit both northern Germany and southern Denmark on a single trip. The new ease of movement could encourage weekend getaways, cycling tours, and cultural exchange. Coastal towns like Rebyhavn and Puttgarden are preparing for a tourism boom, developing new hotels, restaurants, and attractions. Another major benefit is environmental. Replacing ferries and trucks with electric trains could cut emissions significantly. It's estimated that ferries on this route currently emit around 2 million tons of CO each year. Moving this traffic to rail helps meet EU climate goals and supports Denmark's shift toward greener transport. Still, the enormous cost remains a point of contention. 7 billion euros is just for the tunnel, Germany's onshore upgrades are extra. Critics worry it could be decades before the project breaks even. Environmentalists also remain cautious, warning of the lasting ecological risks posed by seabed dredging and marine disruption. Yet, this project may signal a turning point. The Fehmarn Belt shows what's possible when countries aim for greener, faster, and more connected infrastructure. It's a bold model for future transport systems. The tunnel represents a forward-looking vision. As global challenges like climate change, urban crowding, and economic pressure mount, this kind of infrastructure becomes more important. Nations from Asia to Northern Europe are paying close attention, particularly those separated by seas or island chains. Fehmarn proves that even the most difficult engineering obstacles can be tackled with planning, technology, and a long-term outlook. While skyscrapers and bridges often grab the headlines, immersed tunnels like this may quietly lead the next generation of transportation innovations. Germany's role, less public but no less vital, demonstrates how leadership in engineering and diplomacy can make even the most complex projects succeed. The partnership with Denmark is a testament to what's possible through international collaboration, reducing dependence on outdated transportation methods. Looking ahead, the Fehmarn Belt could inspire other large-scale tunnel projects. Concepts once seen as unrealistic, such as a fixed link between Italy and the Balkans, underwater routes in Japan, or even a Bering Strait tunnel, may gain new momentum. What Fehmarn ultimately proves is that with political will, public support, and respect for the environment, projects once thought impossible can become reality. A new mindset is emerging, one that values sustainability and strategic planning as much as speed. Fixed links like this one offer reduced carbon footprints, dependable year-round service, and integration with electric transport solutions. As nations chase net zero targets, such infrastructure will become more common, not exceptions, but expectations. In the end, the quiet excavation beneath the Baltic Sea wasn't just about building a tunnel. It was about transforming the way we move, the way we trade, and the way we build a world where distance no longer divides us.